If you're searching for a project management tool inside the Atlassian ecosystem, maybe Jira specifically, well, search no more. This is most likely the one for you because it has it all. It will help you deal with agile way of working with projects, waterfall way of working with projects, and on top of this, very, very important for most of our customers, the hybrid way of working with projects inside Jira. Now, why is it important? Well, mostly because Jira out of the box doesn't really offer a great approach when it comes to waterfall and when it comes to hybrid. Therefore, if you're working in one of those methodologies, well, not really methodologies, but ways of working with your projects, you will need something on top of Jira out of the box to help you with your project load. And that's exactly the tool that you want to take a closer look at because BigPicture has been on the market for a very long time, has already proven that it's an awesome tool, has been acquired by AppFire, proving additionally that this is one of the top tools on the marketplace right now. And I strongly believe that this is currently the best one, although there are several tools that are stepping on its heels and getting closer and closer, but still BigPicture rules this world at this point in time. So in this video, I'm going to show you what BigPicture is all about, what can you get out of this tool so that you understand fully how this tool can be helpful and possibly what you're missing with current Jira out of the box functionality and what you could have when you employ BigPicture to help you in your project management journey. But before we move on, and a short and shameless plug over here, we at Gecko specialize in helping companies implement and work with project management solutions inside the Atlassian ecosystem on top of everything else that we do. And we have lots of experience in it. We work only, or we hire only the experienced professionals with project management experience, business analysis experience. Therefore, we know how to take those tools and make them work at your company, which is super, super important because when you introduce a tool of such a magnitude, you want to do it right. You want to set it up properly. You want to create templates so that it's easy to use for everyone else involved. And you, of course, want to also train people so that everybody knows what the tool offers, how to leverage all the potential of the tool so that you use the 100% of what it brings to the table. And very, very often we find out that companies that do not start working with the tool properly, then they unfortunately fail and say that the tool didn't meet their expectations, which in many cases is simply false because they simply didn't use the tool in the right way. So if you want to be sure that the tool will be used in a proper way, I strongly encourage you to reach out to us. The contacts are available in the description of this video. Just drop us a note, we will schedule a meeting, and the first question you will hear from us is, how can we help? All right, now let's take a look at BigPicture and what it has to offer. So the first thing you will see when you go to BigPicture will be a screen similar to this one. Well, not exactly this one because mine is already heavily populated with data. But if you install it in your Jira and you go to apps, you will find BigPicture somewhere on the list over here. Now, this screen is called the home screen, as you can see here at the top left corner. So this is the screen where you start looking at whatever you have in BigPicture. And now the question is, what do we have here? Well, the things on the list over here that we are looking at are called boxes. That's why sometimes, even in the name, you will see here demo box. Now, what is a box? It's a very interesting concept, and it's super important to understand exactly how boxes work and how you can configure them so that you can leverage the power of different box types for different types of projects, different levels of project management as well. So the simplest way to explain this is that if you look at your projects in Jira, boxes are essentially similar to those projects. Therefore, you can just create them and they can contain Jira issues, okay? Now, are they the same as Jira projects? No, they are not, of course, because they exist in a different tool and their purpose is a little bit different as well. But essentially, they are bags for issues, and that's what connects them with Jira projects. Now, Do they contain the same issues as Jira projects? They can. They don't have to, but they can. But another important thing essential to understand is that BigPicture is reusing Jira data. It doesn't copy the data, it references the data. Therefore, whatever you will see inside those boxes, which I will get to in a moment, is what exactly exists in your Jira instance, which is very, very important because that means that whoever is working on the projects inside your company is reusing the same set of data. So you have a single point of truth. Very, very important stuff. All right, so the home screen basically shows you your boxes, and your boxes can represent different things because your boxes are stackable. You can put them into the hierarchy. So you can have lower level boxes, you can have higher level boxes. And as you can see on my list over here, many of those boxes are expandable. And I can, for example, click over here and I will see that under this box, I have three sprint boxes. Another pretty decent example is, for example, over here. I have a portfolio type of the box over here. And inside I have 3 different projects. And I can even expand one of those projects to see that it has lower level inside it as well. So that's what I mean when I say that boxes can be stacked into the hierarchy. Very, very important stuff because this allows you to create portfolio views, program views, or even break your projects into smaller elements like sprints, like program increments, like phases, whatever is needed in your way of working with projects. The thing that I like about it very, very much is that it's super flexible, therefore it can address almost any kind of scenario you can get over here. And now, the very most interesting thing that we will go through is or actually are modules inside those boxes. So every box you see on the list over here can have modules inside. And I will open my demo box, which has the full list of modules available in it. And we will go through all of those modules one by one with a short explanation. What is the module for and how can it help you? So the first one that we will actually look at before we move to the Gantt is the overview module. So the overview module allows you to look at your box that you're currently in scope of, and if that box has any sub boxes, they will be listed over here with some statuses, with some start and end dates, with some additional fields that can be displayed here, including, for example, some budgeting information. So very, very useful stuff. You can also switch to a timeline view over here, which can provide you with some additional view of how your project is laid out, and for example, phases or sprints in your project are set in time. So a pretty interesting module to use. Is not very complicated, but is a nice module for, as the name suggests, an overview of whatever is happening in your project right now. Now, another one, the Gantt module, is of course connected with the waterfall or cascade way of working with your projects. So you will see over here a typical Gantt stuff. You will see issues that can be put into the hierarchy, children, parents, and you can build an infinite levels of that hierarchy. Of course, these issues will be connected with one another with links. Currently over here, my links are disabled, but if I expand those links, you will see that those issues are connected with end to start connection, start to end, finish to finish, start to start. So all of those most important dependencies are, of course, implemented in BigPicture and free to use for you. Now, the things that I like about this module, and I'm not going to go into the details of it because Gantt is Gantt. So basically, on the right side, you will have a Gantt chart, and of course, on the left side, you will have a list of issues that are available here on the left and represented as bars and dependencies between them. So what I like about this is that, first of all, there is already quite a lot of inline editing. So I can use this module to groom my data and go through those issues and, for example, say that this one is currently in progress, not in to do. That the duration of this one also is not 156 working days, but 140, for example, and it will influence the duration of the task. So there are lots of stuff like this in the Gantt module, which are very, very useful, very, very important, and help you to speed up the work that you're doing here with the data inside the project. The views that you see over here, the fields that you can display over here are editable, are configurable. And learning how to do it is one of the keys to successfully working with the Gantt module. Another thing that is available over here that is super cool is the grouping functionality hidden over here. On top of this, you can, of course, also use baselines over here. You can use some interesting views that will show you period warnings, that will show you progress of your tasks on the bars, that will display the critical path, that will highlight the tasks that are overview. So really everything that you need really when working with the Gantt. The thing that I haven't mentioned yet, but is also over here, are alternative scenarios. So if you have the plan already registered over here, but now you want to, for example, see what will happen if a person joins my team, or what will happen if I move these three tasks over here and over there, then you will be able to use those alternative scenarios to check and verify whether it's good or bad, and if you want to stick with it or maybe go back to the current version of your project plan. So all in all, a super useful module, and most of the customers we are working with employ the Gantt module to their advantages. Let's move on. So the next module on the list is the scope module. And the scope module, before I switch to it, is more or less like a left side of the Gantt. So imagine that you don't have the Gantt chart, but you just have this table-like view of the data. And that's exactly what the scope module is. It's a simple module that is fantastic for grooming your data, for changing the data one by one, going through the tickets and modifying the data over here, especially now with the inline editing functionality that has been added and is still being added for some of the still missing types of the fields in BigPicture. So all in all, I'm not going to spend too much time over here. Great for grooming the data or viewing the data in the table-like fashion. Useful in both waterfall and agile approaches, really. Now, I will first go through the modules that are really more connected with the waterfall way of working, since we started with the Gantt. So after the Gantt, I think I will visit objectives. So objectives is a very interesting and useful module for managing the goals for your people. So if you're thinking about how to set the direction of where we are aiming for your team or teams, then this is the module that you want to employ. Basically, the concept is that you divide your project into smaller pieces. So in this case, I have program increments, and you can see that they are displayed underneath the timeline, so that I can see where they are placed in time. And then I record objectives for my whole box over here. So in this case, program increment 1. And then I also get an option to record objectives for each team in my box separately, right? So if I want to have just general objectives for everyone, doable. If I want to have specific objectives for every individual team, doable. And also, if I want to break this one down, because you can see that this one spans across like 3 months, and if I want to break this one down into smaller elements like analysis, development, and whatever, iteration free over here, I am still able to do that. And those objectives recorded over here can be Jira issues, but they don't have to be Jira issues. You can measure progress on those objectives if you want to. You can even rate those objectives according to planned business value and achieved business value, which is of course set after the objective is completed or failed. Therefore, you can then get the progress over here of how much of whatever has been assigned to the team has actually been achieved at the end of the iteration or cycle or whatever you record over here as your boxes. So a very useful tool for everyone that wants to step away from micromanagement and wants to actually make people a little bit self-aware and a little bit autonomous in terms of how they are working with the data. I personally love it, love this approach. Now, the next one I want to visit is resources. So this module is about caring for resources, but in a waterfall-like fashion. So you will be looking at the performance of individual resources mostly. and those individual resources will be displayed over here on the list. And over here in this main view, you will see those smaller boxes which will always hold some values indicating, well, they will indicate several different things depending on the view that you enable over here. So in our case, we are looking at workload, but you can also display capacity, or you can also display remaining capacity, which kind of makes the workload redundant. So you either look at this one or this one, in my opinion. It doesn't make sense to look at both at the same time. So if I, for example, want to look at the workload plus capacity, I'll do this, and on every person, I will have now two entries. One will show me how available the person is, and the second will show me how loaded with work the person is. And of course, I will also get some colors over here to indicate whether the person is overloaded or underloaded. So in our case over here, I'm just scrolling through the data. You can see that lots of people actually are totally in green, so they don't have too much work assigned to them. But let's see if I can find someone, somewhere, someplace, some month where I actually have some work assigned to people that makes them a little bit overloaded. So let me go back to the previous screen. I saw the red over here. There is a task assigned to Yaroslav, and you can see that he immediately is highlighted in red because it's 80 hours in one day. So obviously not very doable. And we can, if we click on it, we can immediately see that those hours are coming with this task. And this task is, of course, over here. It's clearly visible as well. And we can take a look at this task, and we can see that it is estimated for 2 weeks, although it's scheduled just for 1 day. So it's either an estimate error or it's a scheduling error. Can we reschedule this task over here? Well, we can try, but in some cases it might not work, because over here we don't see the dependencies, and this task might be connected with some dependencies connected with another task. So in this case, we can see that we cannot reschedule this task, at least in terms of its duration. So what we will do, which will probably be allowed, is change the estimate of this task. So let's change the estimate of this task to be 7 hours only. And if I do this and close this window, you will see that Yaro is still overloaded. Now, why is he still overloaded with just 7 hours assigned to him in 1 day? Because his availability is only 2 hours for whatever reason. By the way, this capacity or availability of people is controlled with workload plans, holiday plans, absences. So all of those important things for resources management are available in BigPicture. Let's make it a little bit less than our estimate. And instead of 7 hours, let's say that it's only 90 minutes. And if we do that, you can see that now Yaro is only highlighted in yellow, which essentially in BigPicture means that he is approaching his full capacity, but he hasn't reached it yet. So all of the important indicators are available over here. You can also export the data to a spreadsheet if you want to play with it a little bit more. And of course, lots of other things like working with your teams instead of individuals are available in this module as well. So all in all, a very interesting place to start with when you are thinking about managing your people, managing your resources. One important aspect, though, that I have to mention over here is that this module requires you to work with estimates. They don't have to be hourly estimates. You can actually even work with story points, which I don't support personally because that's not the best way to follow. So you have to work with estimates, and you should also be working with time tracking. Otherwise, you will be missing on an interesting aspect of the functionality available in this module. All right, moving on. So these are the main modules connected with working with the waterfall approach. Now, if you're thinking about the agile approach, then the scope module that we visited is great for grooming the data again. And then the board module is basically the place where you want to be to have a look at your projects from the agile perspective. And this module is structured in a way that on the right side you basically see the backlog, and on the left side in this big window you have a timeline with sub boxes. So again, if your project is divided into smaller pieces, you will see those sub boxes over here. A very important stuff, because most of the time when you're working with agile, you will divide the project into smaller increments, maybe sprints, probably sprints. This is the most common one. And then inside these lines over here, or lanes, you will see tasks assigned to specific teams in a specific box. So in our case, program increment, or if I scroll down to the lower level, the analysis, development, and iteration. And on this screen, well, you might be thinking, okay, how is it different from Jira boards, for example? It brings a lot of similar functionality, and it actually can also be synchronized with your Jira boards, which is a very cool functionality available in BigPicture. So you can even leave your teams working on Jira boards, but then over here you can come as a project manager to have a broader look at whatever is happening. Why? Well, because over here you can very easily connect multiple teams on the same screen, and then you are able to see what are the capacities of these teams, what is the progress of certain time boxes per team, for example, or even globally over here, what are the dependencies connecting tasks across multiple teams, which is super important for making sure that you avoid any unnecessary risks. So this module, all in all, is perfect for agile way of working. Of course, it has the place where you can manage your capacity planning per teams, per individuals, and again it can be coming from several sources. One of which is definitely the Teams module available in BigPicture. And of course, over here, you are able to record the teams that are available in your box. So again, currently we're in the context of demo box, and you can here check the teams that are available in that box, check the team members, check their availability for the project, and basically control who is working over here and how they are bundled into teams. If you don't want to work on the individuals level, you can just record a team here without any members. That will work some purposes as well. But these are like different tips and tricks that we employ when working with BigPicture. If you want to learn more, remember to reach out to us, and we'll be happy to tell you all about it and assist you in implementing this amazing tool. Now, let's move on then. Risks module, a very good place to stop by and think about the future, think about how different things regarding the project can impact that project in the future, how risky it is. And then you can place those risks on the matrix over here, or just record them in the table-like view over here, and specify what is the risk probability, what is the risk consequence. The scales over here are adjustable, so if you want to change those scales to something else which is more convenient for your company, for your organization, that it's configurable as well. And all in all, a fantastic place to stop by and think about the risks. Come over here every, I don't know, week or 2 weeks, and take a risk review meeting and make sure that you're on track and nothing extraordinary is threatening your project. Moving on from risks to the calendar view, not a very big module, but quite interesting for some of the teams. Basically, this module will allow you to display the tasks assigned to the people from your project, from your team, in a current calendar-like view. So all in all, quite useful module, but not heavily employed by all of the teams, because some of them just are used to working with the waterfall way and Gantt, for example, chart. Some of you will be working agile and will prefer the sprint-like view. So this is just like a different view for your data, and not everybody will be happy with what is available over here, but some of you definitely will. Moving on, the reports module. Reports module is a place where you will definitely want to come by and check how your projects are doing from different perspectives. And the reports module will allow you to look at the data with several different reports available. If I click over here to add it, you will be able to see that I can add a new report, and there are currently 8 of them available. But new reports are being added by BigPicture now and then. So very possible that in the near future we will see even more tiles available over here, even more reports that you can employ to show the data, for example, to the C-level employees, to your directors, heads of departments, and so on. I'm not going to again go into the details of what reports are available over here, but I will just highlight that the latest additions to the reporting family include the team dependencies, cross-box dependencies, and velocity of teams for certain projects, which clearly emphasize the importance of understanding what is or what are different connections between across multiple teams, across multiple boxes, and you should read it as across multiple projects. So all in all, a very important additions when you're thinking about portfolios or programs with multiple entries underneath it. So I definitely like it a lot. All right, let's take a look at our list to see if we haven't skipped anything. And no, we just have manage modules now and configuration, both very important, but of course, because this is just an intro to BigPicture, we're not going to go into all of that details. So this is basically everything that BigPicture can offer. And as you can see, the platter of what is available over here in this tool is very broad, which makes this one of our favorites tool because it can address most of the important scenarios inside the class and when it comes to project management. So if you want to learn more about how BigPicture can help you, if you have specific questions regarding this tool and your actual case, if you want to learn how to implement this tool successfully, how short it is really, because implementing this tool is not a huge effort, and even though it's quite robust, it's actually doable within a week, including the training for the key users. So just reach out to us and let's talk about how we can help you leverage everything that this tool has to offer. Thank you so much for listening. I hope that this was helpful. If it was, consider subscribing to the channel, giving this video a like. If you want to ask something about this tool, you can do this also in the comment under this video, and we will be happy to assist you. And with this, I'm saying goodbye, and I hope we will see each other in one of the other videos on our channel. Cheers.